Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. How was your week? Did you do anything fun? Did you do anything for yourself? Hopefully you did something for yourself. So, all right. And happy Mother's Day, even if you're just a fur baby mommy or a feathery mommy. I'm a feathery mommy too, as well as a fur baby mommy. Or even reptilian mommy. So yes, we have all types of babies, right? No matter what the species, because we love them and we care for them. So we should be able to deduct them from our taxes, right? Just kidding. We love you anyways. All right. So let's talk about estate planning. First of all, we'll talk about things that you should think about and consider for estate planning, and then we'll talk about how this helps and prevents burnout. All right. So, estate planning. I get it. Nobody likes to talk about it or talks about the subject. I didn't like it when my mom talked about it either. But after everything I've been through and seen, I get it. Sean and I don't like to talk about it, but especially with talk about little things. We have to do a little bit at a time because you don't want to think about life without someone you love, right? I mean, we don't even like thinking about it, obviously with our fur babies or anything like. So we don't like to think about that, and but these things are important for you. And I'll tell you why. All right. So, first of all, when it comes to money, people change. People change when it comes to money, inheritance, and everything. It can do one or two things. It will bring out the good in somebody, or it will bring out the worst. All right. When I say good, when people do good, they'll do good things with the money, especially if it's a lot of money. Sometimes they will. But like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, she's given billions of dollars to charity. And so, but anyway, so people, but usually, unfortunately, it's the latter. People typically brings out the worst in people. So this is for everyone. So you and the people you love talk about it. All right. If you want, you can set everything up and then tell someone you trust to let your loved one know where the info is. So, for example, if your loved one does not want to talk about it, doesn't want to hear it, then tell someone like a good friend or something you trust. God forbid if something happens to me, please let so and so know that this stuff is with this lawyer or in the fireproof safety box or whatever. I told them, but they probably won't remember. All right. So if that would be easier, and like I said, it actually might be better either way because you can't think straight from shock and trust, or from shock. And trust me, I've experienced that. You don't think straight. And so it's your mind's not there, especially if it's, even if it's suspected, but if it's unexpected, it's yeah. Say most importantly, what is your plan for your pets? What kind of situation are you in for your significant other to take care of them? Some people may not, depending on your situation, your significant other might not be the best person to caretake for your animals after you're passed. Some people are in those situations. Would you trust them to do that? I say also too, like Sean and I, even before we were married, our dogs like we had 3 Siberian Huskies, and a short-haired Chihuahua. They were going to go to my parents because they had a close relationship with them. Because my parents, would take care of them when we were out of town. And even now, like Bentley and Monty, our cockatiel, would go to my dad because Bentley has that close relationship with my dad, and we know that they would take care of, my dad would take care of them, and so, and of course, our thing is, financially, like, how do we want to take care of them? Do you have special care instructions written down somewhere for them? So, like, are they on a special diet? Is there a special routine? Things that they don't like? Like, as if you would leave, like, instructions as if you were leaving for a babysitter. But, like, do you have this stuff written down for someone that would take care of your animals if, God forbid, something happened to you? Because some people will say they're just animals, but, like, let's be honest. We know that they're more than that. Like, they love us just as much, and if not more, than we love them. And God forbid if something happened to us and they're still around, like, they're going through their own heartbreak as well. And so, yes, we need, it's our responsibility to make sure that they're taken care of the way we would want them taken care of if, God forbid, something happened to us. Okay? So even if anything, most importantly, even if it's just for them, okay? But, and then, in your field, no matter what area, you see this a lot, owners pass. Either no family to take them, or family doesn't want to take them. They end up in shelters. Sometimes they end up going to not so good homes, and sometimes they end up in a kill shelter. And because they're depressed and grieving, they may not get adopted. And that's sad too. I shouldn't say that's sad, that's horrible, but also too, I think every animal should be adopted. There shouldn't be any shelters or any animals in shelters. There should be more, best friends animal societies. Okay, I'm stopping there, but again, don't let this be don't let your pet be one of these. Okay. Also, have you thought about if you want to be buried or cremated, or do you want to donate your body to science? I will say, if that is even a thought, not a decision that you made, but something you may want to do, I would start looking into it. Even now, even if you're healthy, like, that's okay. Start looking into it. And I say this because there are different guidelines to places that would take your body to donate to science. My mom, eventually, she had wanted her body to be donated to science, but because that wasn't something we had prepared for before her death was unexpected. So because we didn't prepare for it, we weren't able to do it. And so that's why I said, if it's even a possibility, something you should look into, definitely, and see what the guidelines are with that. Because, you can always change your mind. It's, it's not set in stone yet, right? Also, do you do you want a funeral? And if so, what would that look like? Is your burial plot paid for? My parents had bought one ages ago, and it was paid for. They're not using them because my mom wanted to be cremated. She got cremated. My dad, he wants to be cremated now, instead of the burial plot. So he's either giving it to me or Sean, like, he's either giving it to us or he's going to sell it. So whatever we want to do, right? So again, So all of this will go into your estate planning along with what you want done with your possessions and your money. Is there someone specific or a nonprofit you want this to go to, your possessions or money or anything like that? Make sure you specify that. Make sure, even if it's a nonprofit, a lot of nonprofits, if there's a specific one you want to go to, they do have those things. You can reach out for information on that and set that up with them as well. But again, I would advise you get with an estate lawyer, find out the best way to do that with the laws in your state. Every state is different. Some states it's easier to do things than other states. There are some states lawyers will tell you do not die in, or have like residency in, obviously, when you die. Yeah. So again, every state's different. Make sure you know the state laws for that if something should happen to you or significant other or anything. It's yes. But I will say now, if there are any family members that you don't want anything to go to or that could contest the will, please discuss this with an estate lawyer as to how the loopholes can be closed and as airtight as possible. I'm not saying that you can stop them from contesting, but because you can't. Anybody can contest a will. That's, that you can't stop. But what you can prevent is them from getting anything. So even if you have to say in your will, I don't want things to go to XYZ or XYZ to get anything, or sometimes they say if you give them something, if you leave them something small or a dollar or whatever, or two, even if it goes into a trust, they might, that might help. I don't know. But definitely things to ask your lawyer, estate lawyer. I will tell you this. My mother, she was a banker. She actually years ago, she had gotten a law book and she typed up the will. Her will, my dad's will, she typed it up, and her will was so airtight. It was better than what if a lawyer had written it. So sometimes, and yes, you can do these on your own. It's not, it's not, it doesn't have to go through an estate lawyer. I always say, if you want to be specific about certain things, if you don't want to go through probate and stuff, like, consult with an estate lawyer, find out what the laws are in your state. Or even if you want things put in a trust, again, find out what those laws are in your state. Everyone's different. Or even so much so, like transferring like a house into someone else's name. So sometimes it may be best to put it in a trust versus doing that, depending on the law, depending on the state and the state laws. Some states it's really easy, as long as you have this paper signed and then, or filed, as long as you have this paperwork done, then, the house, the house can automatically go into your child's name or whoever's name, right? But in other states, it's not that easy. And sometimes it's very different in each state. So that's where I say, definitely consult with an estate lawyer depending on what your situation is, possessions wise, and what you want to do, right? So also to make sure you shop around to find an estate lawyer that works for you if you're going to go that route. Somebody, a good friend of ours, went with one lawyer, didn't want his family to have the stuff, was giving it to caretakers. Family found out, possessive will, caretakers got screwed by the lawyer in a sense that, they just got screwed by the lawyer. They did get stuff, but not what they wanted. And it wasn't what the friend wanted either, that passed away. So, yes, because the lawyers were really bad. And the sad part is some of that I felt like I could have I could have argued almost better during the negotiation than the lawyers did, but whatever. Well, some of the lawyers, I swear they ended up getting screwed, but anyways, not all the lawyers, some of the lawyers. They did have one good one. The trial lawyer was pretty good, but anyways, so you're here or there. But anyways, like I said, make sure that. But also, too, another thing to keep in mind is if you do file with a state lawyer, make sure that somewhere, because they draw it up and then they give the original to you. So make sure there's somewhere that you could keep and if you lose that copy, you're screwed. Well, my father and I, we've been looking through estate lawyers to have, again, to figure out the best way to do this, because, my dad doesn't want, if something happens to him, have to go through probate and everything, because even with my mom, like, I'll tell you right now, like, as like orderly and everything my mom was, like, after she passed, dealing with a lot of these things, it was like going through the twilight zone. Like, things happened that I couldn't even make this stuff up if I wanted to. It was crazy. And my mom was organized. Like, it was like the weirdest thing. Like, it was just, and we wouldn't have, if somebody had, like, we had people who didn't believe us because they weren't there, but obviously people were there. Like, we wouldn't have believed that people told us these things too. Like, it was just that crazy, right? So anyway, my father and I were going through, and we found this one, and I like them in a sense that they have like the cloud. So they put this information in the cloud so that you can log into and have access to the paperwork, which is really nice, because God forbid, like, if something happened to, my father and I had to be his medical power of attorney, or, or Sean, and obviously we don't have access, we're not near the paperwork, we have access to the paperwork to show that we have the medical power of attorney, then you could pull it up. Like, you can log into this and pull it up, as long as, like, my father gives us access, right? So same thing, so that's nice. So make sure there's still a way, if you do go through an estate attorney, that you can access the papers just in case something happens to them, okay? Because it happens. So that was the friend I was talking about. He had drew up a will ages ago and had done some other things, but he couldn't find it. And the lawyer they used didn't have it, and claimed, said he didn't have it. So he had to draw up another one. So yes, it does happen. But most importantly, like, this will take the stress off of you. There's no convenient time for these things to happen. But if you're prepared, it will make part of it easier to deal with. So it would make it easier for you as a like, as if you were the family member that had to take care of these things. Also too, you're also happy because you would know these were taken care of if you had your stuff together, right? Like, it's one less thing off your plate. It will help with the burnout and prevent if something comes up and everything is legally set and ready, right? So let's say, God forbid, you're working hard, you're going through whatever you're going through with work, right? And all of a sudden, like, a loved one that you're close to dies, and you're their next of kin, or you're the person that has to take care of all of this, right? So whether it's mom, dad, grandma, sibling, God forbid, a child, or something, like, all that's already taken care of. You don't have to deal with that, right? You just do what you need to do and grieve how you need to grieve. But I will say, keep in mind, no matter how prepared you are legally, there's always going to be hiccups. It never fails. I always say, Murphy's Law. Murphy's my best friend. Like, I've accepted that fact ages ago. So when shit happens, and then I'm like, yeah, of course. Okay, of course. It's Murphy's Law. Murphy's my best friend. It doesn't surprise me. But there again, like I said, I know it's a tough subject, but trust me, it's worth it in the end. If something happens, you have a lot going on already. And then of course adding something like this to it, like in the, because again, these things always happen at the most inconvenient time. I mean, not that there isn't a convenient time by any means, but it always seems everything piles on at once. And then there's something like this to kind of top the cake, right? So, or ice in the cake. So if a lot of it's prepared, that's less thing you have to do. So keep that in mind. And that's how it helps you with your burnout and works through your burnout. You'll be glad that you did it. All right. And that's why I suggest, like, I would do it at a time that you don't have a lot of things going on, like prepare and kind of figure out what you want to do and get things. And then, again, if you draw up a will and you change your mind, like 5 years down the road, that's okay. You just redo it. Like it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone until you passed. And then at that point, there's nothing you can do about it. Unless you want to come back and haunt people. And, then again, I don't know how well that works, this day and age, but I'm just saying. All right. So with that being said, if you need someone to talk to, you have the Lifeboat, the peer-to-peer, so you can talk to someone in your field. You reach out to them. If you need someone to talk to immediately, because you're having thoughts you shouldn't have. Not that you shouldn't have, but we don't want you to have. You can call or text 988. Or you can call or you can text, not call, text 741-741. All right. So, inspired by an old poem, you may not know that the world needs you, but it does. For no one else can smile your smile, say your piece, or shine your light. You are unique, and you alone can fill your place. If you were not here to shine your light, what would happen to the pilgrims passing by your empty place in the darkness without your light to help them on their way? You may not know the world needs you, but it does. Remember, what you do matters, and the world is a better place with you in it. Dear Person's Company. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week, and go do something for you.